Hey there guys, what is going on? It is Gil right here. Welcome back to the Nakama Lounge. This is episode 3 of your weekly, or I should say not weekly, but every fortnight podcast basically. And today with me, we have a new guest as well. Now, before we get into it, this podcast premieres on YouTube as well as on Spotify. So be sure to check out all platforms if you want to hear us on the go, or if you want to watch us and see our reactions to what the other person says, basically over on YouTube. But like I said, today we have a very special guest and a newcomer to the 5-9 Animanga channel, and that is Trico Gaming. Say hello, mate.
Hello everyone. How you all doing today?
And of course, we do have our returning panelists as well in the form of Iz. Say hello, mate.
Hey yo, what up? What up?
And of course, celebrating her birthday very recently, and I hope you guys say happy birthday to her in the comment section down below. Stacy, say hello.
Hi guys, yes, and thank you for the birthday wishes in advance. Thank you.
Alright, so like I said, today is going to be a very interesting day because we've got a lot of topics to talk about. You know, Anime Expo is coming up. We are going to be delving into a very debated topic, especially one that's going to be covering all genres, not just one genre. But before we get into those topics, our first topic of the day is going to be about the end of the spring season. Now, the end of the spring season is near. We're going to be starting the summer season soon even. I think July 7th is when I'm seeing a lot of anime starting to air, basically, or in and around there. And first question, obviously, as per usual, is the end of the spring season is here. What have you guys been watching, and which show has impressed you the most of the season? Stacy, we'll start with you, the birthday girl. How have you been finding this season, and what have you been watching from it?
I mean, really the only two shows I've been watching are Kaguya-sama and Spy Family. I'm finally all caught up with Kaguya-sama, and I'm happy I am. Like this season, the season that is happening right now is honestly the best season out of all of the seasons that Kaguya-sama has had so far, and I really enjoy it. Spy Family is also like a huge hit, and I'm sad it's gonna be over. Like I'm just happy I'm a manga reader with Spy Family because like there's just so much to it and I love it. But I have been watching Ava as well. I know it's not like a seasonal anime, but like I finally am watching the Rebuild movies. So I watched the first Rebuild movie, and yeah, so I've been watching that, and I started this anime called Carol and Tuesday on Netflix. It's like, it came out a couple years ago, and I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of nice after watching Ava. Like, it's not so depressing and whatever, so it was like a nice change of pace. And of course, I'm watching One Piece weekly. So yeah, just like the usual, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I want to bring us back to Kaguya-sama for a second there, because this week, well, at the time of this recording, the final episode is still yet to air. I think this podcast will go up a couple of days after the anime airs its final episode, but it is an hour-long finale, so I'm very excited about it because that's gonna be.
Oh my god! Is it really?
Yeah, it's an hour-long finale. So, well, for us, it'll be probably like 40-45 minutes because in Japan they have ads and stuff, and that is the total of 1 hour. That is the total of 1 hour, right? For us, it'll be like 45 minutes or so, basically. But it's still an hour-long finale, which I'm so excited for. And of course,
that's awesome.
Yeah, of course, we'll come back and talk about it once it's done and dusted. I know that at Anime Expo as well, they're having a panel, which I assume must mean that they're gonna announce the next season. There is my guess. Or an OVA, one or the other, or both even. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce both, to be honest. But yeah, I'm very excited for the finale. It's going to be super exciting. And Trico, how about you? How are you finding this season, and what has been your sort of like underrated show from this season?
I've been watching a lot this season. I usually try to try out a lot of the different ones that I didn't think I was going to like, you know, like some not popular ones, and see which ones actually will like catch my eye. I've been watching, you know, like the stereotypical like Komi-san, Kaguya-sama, Spy Family, and like these ones I definitely really like. Like there's a reason why they're really big, and like why a lot of people still like them to this day. But also I got into like Skeleton Knight. I got into the Shikimori.
Shikimori is not just
Shikimori. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. I haven't watched it after like I think the 4th episode though. I kind of let go of it. It just kind of came for me. But the one that I thought that was really underrated that not many people watch was the in the heart of a Konochi Tsubaki.
Yes,
that one's like the ninja one. I thought that one was really cool. I actually really liked that one. But yeah, and Skeleton Knight, and I also watched a little bit of Skeleton Knight too.
Yeah, the funny thing about Tsubaki is, for those who don't know, it's actually made by the same creator of Takagi-san or Tia, and you can tell by the design that it's very similar. But those are good shows. Skeleton Knight, I know, like I've already like given it the title of, it's basically a like not better, but like a more funny version of basically Overlord. Basically, that's how I've treated it as. Basically, how about you? How are you finding this season, and anything you've been noticing? Anything you want to talk about potentially?
Not necessarily really. I mean, we've covered like obviously Kaguya-sama, Shikimori, Skeleton Knight. Those are all like, pretty well. Shikimori's kind of
Yeah.
But obviously Kaguya-sama and Skeleton Knight are really good. One thing that I know not a lot of people have been talking about is Love After World Domination. That one's actually, it surprised me actually. I thought it was going to be your stereotypical, just like, rom-com here and there, but obviously it is your stereotypical rom-com, but like the fact that it's melding essentially, like, what if a Power Ranger and the villain, fell in love, like, what would happen right there? And then it's very interesting to watch, and just to see really that even though like they are like, even though they're all supposed to be rivals, like they still like found things, like they still found each other attractive, they still found things like each one was interested in. That's what kind of kept me, because I was like, okay, well, let me see where this goes. And so far it has not disappointed. It's one of the funniest like things. It's like funny, and it's in an awkward kind of sense, where it's like you're just like, oh, this feels so awkward, but I can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
So Love After World Domination, that's the one that surprised me. And obviously the world of Otome game is hard for a mob character. That one also surprised me as well, because it took it like oh my god, like Konosuba. It takes the trope of an isekai and just flips it on its head to be something completely different, and I enjoyed it. So those are the two of the ones that surprised me, that I didn't think I would be very much into, but I'm very much love.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, obviously, as well, like I think both you and Trico mentioned, is Shikimori being a bit of a disappointment, right? I think it was one of the more hyped shows at the start of the season, right? And I feel like they're surprisingly, what was supposed to be a very strong season. I genuinely went into the spring season thinking, this was going to be a really strong season, because, the hype was there for Shikimori. Spy Family and Kaguya-sama were already extremely popular, be it from manga format or previous seasons, right? And then, of course, the other big name of the season, which everybody's just forgotten exists, let's be real, is Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2, right? Like, that first season was so well received. I remember, because it was going toe-to-toe with Demon Slayer Season 1 as well. I still remember they started airing at the same time, and it still gained a really good fan base in that first season, to the point now where the second season has just not been good enough. I don't know if any of you guys have been keeping up with it, but if you guys have, I don't know, because in all honesty, I wouldn't blame you if you guys stopped watching it after like episode 5, episode 6, but yeah, it's just been such an utter disappointment. I don't know, is Trico, Stacy, any of you guys have been keeping up with it maybe?
No. I mean, like, it sounded good. You guys said like the first season was so dope, and I remember you guys talking it up and that you were so excited for it, and to hear that it was a disappointment, it's like, do I even care to watch this now?
Yeah.
Is it worth my energy? But yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's disappointing. I don't know anything about the show, but just hearing the feedback, it just kind of deters me away from it. So really, that's all I know.
Yeah, it is. What about you? Or Trico, go ahead.
Sorry, like like when it first came out, it was definitely considered like one of the better like isekai anime, because there's so much isekai anime that's been like dumped on us every single season, and this was one of the ones that actually shined, and a lot of people really liked it when it first came out, and like you said, it competed against like Demon Slayer kind of quality, and a lot of people love the characters and they go for it. I think the main reason why it just did not pop off in the second season was because like they decided to tackle like a really boring arc with a turtle, and people were like, "What? Why is it so slow? Like this is the second season. It should be hyped. It should bring us together. It should get us really excited for the second season." But it just showed off like the worst part of like the manga, where they just did not really talk about anything, and people who wanted to jump into it didn't get gripped anymore. And I heard now, I haven't watched it after that little part. I heard now it has ramped back up and it's gotten better, but they already lost like all that traction. They pretty much just like fell like really hard.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. I know a lot of people were saying like, oh, this arc, because I did do a couple of reviews initially, like the first 2-3 episodes, and I even made like where a video on how and where did Rising of the Shield Hero go wrong. And I saw a lot of people saying the same thing, that the arc that they were tackling was bad enough, and then on top of that they decided to cut up all the development, and you know, they were rushing through the series. Like it was a slow arc anyways in the manga, but or in the light novel as well, I should say. But the problem is that they took all the development that mattered to the characters and, you know, just did the parts that didn't, you know, add anything to the series or bring attention to the series in any manner, right? And that was the problem. And along with that, they had very inconsistent animation qualities, especially with the CGI of the turtle. Very questionable at times. But yeah, you were saying something, I think. Sorry, we cut you up a couple of times, but what were you saying?
Oh no, you guys legitimately took the words out of my mouth. Like just the fact that they try to essentially make a boring arc shorter, but cutting out like all the stuff that like at least made it somewhat decent. It's just, what's the point? And then now with the animation too, it's like the animation was so spotty. Like I was just sitting here like, what the hell? Like the animation the first season was, you know, really good. It was really well done, and now the animation this season was just completely and total trash. It was essentially like it was essentially like another Seven Deadly Sins, except not as worse, but still pretty bad.
Yeah.
Where you like had pretty good animation, and then just straight up trash can. So, and the fact of like it happened this early in the season, like everyone dropped it off. Like everyone like probably gave it like 3 or 4 episodes. Doesn't matter. The only people that probably would stay are the ones that are just like, you know what, I already watched it, you know, I'll go through the end. And they're the ones that will be like, okay, it at least got better at like episode 11 when there's only 12 episodes supposed to be out. So it's like, what's the point anymore? You know?
True.
So it's just very disappointing to me. Like the fact of I was kind of hyped for it to come back, at least try to make that arc a little bit better. Nope, made it worse, and now here we are.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's definitely a very unfortunate situation that it's been going through, and I feel like it's been happening a lot recently as well. It's just not like it's been only Rising of the Shield Hero that's gone through this second season syndrome, right? You've had Promised Neverland and, you know, a couple of others as well, along with Promised Neverland, that have just not been up to scratch for some reason or another. I don't know what is the reason behind these shows having this second season syndrome of just falling flat on their face. It's super odd. But let's move on to a little bit more of a positive topic, and let's talk about our early predictions for anime of the season. You know, we're wrapping this up, you know, we're almost done. I know we're still a week away from the final episode, and things can change massively in that final episode, and especially shows like Spy Family, we're expecting to end on a cliffhanger because, you know, the show is going to be coming back in the fall season, right? But let's see what our early predictions are for the anime of the season. What do you think will take the who do you think will take the crown? We'll start with you. Who do you think will take the crown?
Honestly, it's really pretty much a toss up between either Kaguya or Spy Family. Depending on how Kaguya will end its final episode, that can be the turning point of, okay, well, Kaguya-sama had an amazing finale, so, you know, there goes, anime of the season. But if it's if it's pretty good but not like amazing, then it most likely will go to Spy Family because of that cliffhanger. Because then people are just like, I want to know. Like it was like they left them at like a really good stopping point where they're just like, all right, well this was intriguing, this was an amazing episode. Like, to be honest, like even like anime, like weekly animes, like it's always been Spy Family always on top. So it can like and Kaguya-sama like teetering behind, so it's legitimately just a toss up, and all, like you said, it all depends on the finale episode for Kaguya and the finale half season for Spy Family.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Trico, Stacy, I guess you guys would agree with this on that one.
I feel like Spy Family is gonna take it, honestly. More people know Spy Family, more people are into Spy Family. Kaguya-sama is great. Like, I honestly hope it wins because, dude, that rap episode, that one rap episode, like, deserves the entire, like, award. Seriously, that was, like, the best episode I've seen ever. And so... Yeah, with a 45-minute to an hour finale, it'll be interesting to see what happens in Kaguya-sama. Like, I don't know anything about... I haven't read the manga or anything, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm excited to see because, like, a whole, like, bomb just happened in the last episode. And so, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But I feel like no matter what happens in Kaguya-sama, it's going to be Spy Family at the top. It's just so popular right now. I feel like it's like as popular as, I mean, maybe not as popular as Demon Slayer yet, but it has that same feeling as just like, oh my god, everyone's watching this show,
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that, I mean, I understand why they've decided to go for a split core just to make sure the quality's up there and stuff, right? It obviously would have been better if it just continued into the next season, right? Because then the consistency would be there. It's something we've discussed in numerous videos and podcasts where we've taken a certain show's example, JoJo's about having such a big gap between shows episodes, right? You lose that connection, and I hope that this doesn't backfire on them necessarily. I don't think so. It's not as bad as JoJo's Part 6, right? It's only like a 3-month gap basically between the two between episode 12 to 13 basically. So we'll see what happens in that regards, but I do agree Spy Family is a little bit more popular. I say a little bit more, a lot more popular. It's one of the new gen. It's part of the shonen category. People love it for a reason. So definitely very, very, very likely that it is gonna win. Trico, what do you feel?
Like, definitely Spy Family is so mass right now. Is like not a single anime corner that's not talking about it. I actually had a friend who was reading the manga before this, and he was telling me that, like, oh my god, Spy Family is getting an anime adaptation. He was like telling me like how amazing it's gonna be. And I was like, yeah, sure, it doesn't sound that cool. But now I'm like, oh my god, this anime is so freaking dope. So I'm actually really excited that it's actually doing super well. I am still like a Love is War Kaguya-sama like huge fan, and I really am super excited for the final part because I did read the manga, and oh my god, if they do the ending right, it should blow up the internet. It really should. So, like, I don't think it's gonna overblow Spy Family because it was just this huge, big old deal with all the great characters, music, writing. Like, I'm pretty sure Spy Family is definitely gonna win, but Kaguya-sama is definitely, like, going to still blow up and make a huge impact for this season.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be very interesting. I think that finale, like you said, if they adapt the manga correctly, it probably will, take the reins, but who knows? We'll have to just wait and see. But there we have it. That's our spring season finale. We will be obviously coming back to a completely fresh season next time around when we do the podcast. It'll be the start of the summer season, and we will be previewing the summer season then. Today, however, we're going to be talking about something else instead. We're going to be focusing in on genres. Now, across the anime world, there's a bunch of genres and subgenres. You've got your slice of lives, you've got your shonen, you've got your seinen, you've got your shoujo anime and manga, you've got your sort of healing anime basically, you've got your thrillers, horrors, mystery, so on and so forth. You've got so many genres in the anime world. But today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at some of the more popular genres, and I think as a collective, we're gonna see if we sort of agree or disagree with our choices on what we feel is the best anime or manga series in that specific genre. So the genres that we are looking at today are gonna be action, comedy, slice of lives, fantasy, romance, sci-fi. Those are the 6 categories we're going to be looking at. And I know some people will say, oh, slice of lives, that's kind of in line with romance. Not necessarily. There are dedicated slice of lives that aren't romance necessarily. Same thing with romance and comedies. And the thing is, I think we'll allow people to kind of use the same show for romance and comedies, assuming it is a rom-com, like say Kaguya-sama, right? I think we'll allow that. But let's start off with action, because this one is going to be the most interesting one, because there's so many action shows out there. You've got Bleach, Naruto, Dragon Ball, JoJo's. There's just so many. All right, Stacy, we'll start with you. Best action show.
Dude. Oh my god.
I'm bringing you in first. Let's go. I had to go.
That's too hard. Like, do you know how much action anime is out there?
And
it's ridiculous.
Exactly why I chose you first. Let's go.
Probably One Piece. I mean, like, lots of good action in there. That's not even necessarily fighting. There's just like a lot of adventure, a lot of discovery and exploring, and I love it. Maybe manga-wise, I'd maybe say Berserk. Berserk has a ton of action in it, and it's beautiful. So those are probably my top 2. I know that there are a lot of other action animes, but those are the top 2 that come to my head, like right off the bat. Those are just like iconic animes and manga. So yeah, those are my 2, I guess. I guess that was pretty easy. But
I mean,
yeah.
Arguably, those are some really good choices, to be quite honest, for something that came off the top of your head. And in all honesty, I would agree with you, because obviously we know Berserk's returning and all, but like on top of that, Berserk is already just so iconic, period, from the get-go. It's a shame it's never gotten a really amazing anime adaptation yet, you know. We don't talk about...
Yeah, I wish. I wonder why, though. Like, there have been so many other animes that, like, don't deserve an adaptation. And Berserk, like, I mean, they have the movies, but dang, like, we want a show.
Yep.
I want a long-running anime from Berserk, you know? I need that. I need it in my life.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, right now, I assume it's a little bit tricky to do it, obviously, with the passing of Miura and figuring it out. And especially with, I think they want to settle down the manga first. But I do hope that they do consider, you know, finally making that move to adapting it, you know, finding a good studio to produce the anime. I don't know who would be the best studio to produce Berserk, to be quite honest. I can't think of one off the top of my head, right? But there has to be somebody out there who would be willing to take a shot and do a good job at it, unlike 2016. You know, we don't talk about that iteration of Berserk. How about you? Best action shows or manga? What do you say?
In all honesty, I was gonna say One Piece, but then Stacey took it, so I will go with
I mean, you can say
go with Bleach.
You can say the same one if you want.
I realized. No, Bungo Stray Dogs.
Bungo Stray Dogs.
Bungo Stray
That's a good one.
Dogs.
That's
a good one.
That's a good one. It's a bit of an underrated one, I would say. Not a lot of people have heard about it. It is a decent one, though. I'm surprised that you went for it. Any particular reason why, I should say?
There's like the way that they fight, because the thing is, like, whatever you wrote, like, most of these like shonen animes is literally just I have power, blah blah blah. It's like here's me, big bulging muscle, blah blah blah. Dragon Ball, but it's just like it just feels so redundant at this point, where it's just like you got big guy, then you got other big guy, they punch, that's it, cool. Bungo Stray Dogs, it was actually very different. Like, you know, they have powers, but the thing is, like, they're really smart with their powers. Like, they utilize it to the point where it's just like same thing in One Piece, where like obviously like those people like utilize their devil fruits, but like in Bungo Stray Dogs, they utilize their powers like fluently and as if it's like a quote unquote like, you know, realistic to the world in a sort of sense. So that's what I feel like with Bungo Stray Dogs, like. And like some of the fight scenes like that were choreographed were really well done. Like at the end of the second season, where the obviously it's gonna be a spoiler, but where I forgot what's his name, the were tiger and the the Shadow guy, where
Mm-hmm.
they combined together and they made like one conglomerate power to take out like the big bad whose power was money essentially, and basically beat him till he was broke. That was actually really well done. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one I would say.
No, that's fair. I think that's a very good shout. I honestly was not expecting such an underrated show to come into this picture. To be quite honest, Chico, how about you? Best action show out there?
So this is gonna be very like generic because a lot of people like agree with this, but it just means a lot to me. And as Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I just love the action in that. Is like with choice for Stray Dogs. I really just like how they kind of like did their powers, but they actually did it very smartly. Like there was a reason behind everything, and it's not just two giant like buff JoJo characters looking people fighting each other for just pounds of strength. They actually had to think about what they were doing, and I just love the freaking anime like crazy. So like action's perfect for that. But if I could name another one that I could say that was the last one that just blew my mind with the amount of action they did, was probably going to be Recreators. It was a very underrated one because it was only on the Amazon Prime network, but that one is like has some of the great like animation done, and also they have a lot of really interesting characters with different interesting like quirks and abilities that when they interact with each other, it just worked out super well. I definitely recommend checking that one out.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. And I kind of like all the options you've got on the table. I wasn't, when I came into this podcast, I was like, I expect a couple of JoJo's here and there. One Piece, of course, Stacy mentioned, which I think is completely fair, right? But Bungo Stray Dogs, Recreators, and, these are some really, really great options for sure. For me, I think, in all honesty, it's a little difficult. I mean, like you guys said, the action genre is so big, especially in the anime industry, right? It's just like the staple, basically, right? Because we obviously had, like, as much as people slay Dragon Ball story and, so on and so forth, and it's outdated storytelling experience, I suppose, it still is such an iconic piece of history, and it inspired so many of these mangakas that followed up. I think for me though, if I had to choose one that was really, really good and I still love to this day, I would probably say Yu Yu Hakusho for me. I think probably when it comes to action / adventure more so, it obviously involves a lot of supernatural martial arts as well, which was fantastic for its time. And it was great. I loved the storytelling, and obviously we know the ending was a little dicey, of course, but again, that was understandable with especially the issues that Togashi was going through with his health and everything. But overall, I mean, from start to end, it captured me. It made me interested in the series and made me want to keep reading continuously once I got hooked in on it, for sure. So for me, I think Yu Yu Hakusho is a big staple for me in terms of the action genre entirely, be it manga or anime, I would say probably. Let's move on to the next genre. I think we're gonna go a little bit to the side and we'll go into slice of lives. We'll start with you. Your best slice of life show or manga or light novel, either or.
Best slice of life. The only one that I can think of that literally popped into my head whenever I thought of slice of life was the Class Presidents of Maid. That one completely popped in my head whenever I think of slice of life. It's like one of those, like, it was, I think, one of the very first slice of life that I really got into. Just the story and like the characters and just like the overall atmosphere of the anime really kept me in for the long run. And then obviously, like, because of that, I went and read the manga and fell in love with the manga. So that's the one slice of life I will say that it's like one of my favorites in the slice of life. I was thinking about Fuka in the manga sense, but because the anime did it so dirty, I was like, no, I can't. As much as I want to say, like, if we're thinking manga, then yeah, definitely Fuka. But
yeah,
Sad.
We don't talk about that. We definitely don't talk about that. Stacy, how about you? Any slice of lives that come to your mind in terms of like something that you would put on a pedestal?
I think my favorite is probably Fruits Basket. I think that would be Slice of Life.
It
I
is.
mean,
It
has
is.
a lot of
It was gonna be my vote.
slice of life aspects.
Yep.
Yeah, I love Fruits Basket. It's like dramatic. It has a lot of romance to it and like twists and turns, and I really like it. But I also liked Clannad After Story as well. So those are probably like top two. They both are romance, but hey, they're good slice of lives. I like them.
Exactly. I mean, you kind of took my vote with Fruits Basket, so I'll just say mine. I think Fruits Basket, especially the last season. I still need to watch the Prelude movie. I'm still waiting for it to come. Please, can you guys, drop it sometime soon? I would like that to happen. Please, I beg. But the Prelude movie is something I really need to watch. But even then, seasons 2 and 3 really definitely hooked me in for sure. Season 1 was a little bit dicey for me. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't too sure if I would continue rewatching it. But I'm kind of glad that I did, because seasons 2 and 3 were really, really, really good, I would say. And in my opinion, season 3 kind of got robbed at Crunchyroll's awards. I think it should have won Anime of the Year, but that's just me, in all honesty. I also do think, for me personally, and I know Stacey's gonna call me out for this one, I think Anohana I really, really, really like. Personally, I have to give it one, an honorary vote. Listen, I love it.
I was waiting for you to say it. I was waiting for you to say Anohana.
I like it. I want to give it my vote. I think it's really, really good. It made me cry a lot when I was like 16, 17.
Yeah,
please, let me slide. Let it slide. All right, Trico, how about you? Best slice of life from your end?
Wow, like, because a lot of my slice of life ones that are my favorites are usually romance, so I'm going to save it for the romance category if we do one. And that is, so the only one I can really think of is like old school ones like Lucky Star, but I think the one that I can like say is probably my favorite one is Komi, just because Komi can't communicate.
Yep.
Just because I actually was in the community during the time where we all thought it will never get an anime adaptation at all. I was reading the manga, I was really enjoying it, really loving it, and all these other stuff like Uzaki-chan and Miss Nagatoro was getting all these anime, and we were like all sitting there like, oh my god, Komi, when will you get anime? It will never happen. And then when it got announced, like the whole community just blew up, and we got so excited. And so far, they have not disappointed. Each and every episode just made me fall in love with it more and more. And even though I'm super far into the manga right now, I still can't wait until like new characters get introduced, where they're gonna try for new things. And you know what? I love it. If I could say a second option, because it just popped in my head, that is Way of the House Husband, because that one's such a gem. I really like that one too.
Yeah, that kind of went under the radar, especially because everybody saw the animation initially and they were like, what the hell is this? This is, what are they doing, kind of thing, right? But it actually ended up being really funny, really good, and really enjoyable as well, for sure. All right, there's our slice of lives. Let's move on to the next category, fantasy. Now, fantasy will include isekais and stuff like that. So let's hit it. Trico, best fantasy you think?
So I I'm not really into like the isekai kind of stuff. I kind of just don't really care too much about that trope.
Yep.
But I will definitely say my favorite fantasy, or my favorite like isekai, I would say, would be that time got reincarnation as slime. I think they just did it super well. Is one issue I always had with isekai is that I just don't like how like a character is brought up to be this super overpowered character, and then something happens to them, and like some plot device is thrown at them, and like, oh no, I'm super weak now, and I really hate it when they do that. Like, if there's like super overpowered character, I want them to stay overpowered and just be cool and epic. And I feel like they did that really well with like the reincarnation of slime, because that person was always epic and always really good the entire time, but it was the development of all the side characters that actually showed progress and work hard to do everything. So like the character stayed good and awesome, but there was still progression and growth with every other character. So I thought like that was probably one of my favorite ones, definitely.
I definitely see where you're coming from. I think slime would be a common, top place. Like for a lot of people, I think people would put it on their top place commonly. How about you, what would you say is your best fantasy?
I would have to say Konosuba. In all
Yep.
honesty, I think it's okay. It's either between Konosuba or is it wrong to pick up Girls in a Dungeon? Those two. It's like
IG.
those two. Yeah, those two is just they like just like the world that they set it in. Like obviously, like Konosuba, like we don't know much about the world except for like obviously like in the movies where we find out that Megumi's whole entire clan was made from another guy who got isekai'd into their world.
Yeah.
Essentially, so it's like that little part just like obviously made Konosuba's world a little bit more interesting because like okay, well there's another person that got isekai'd here, so obviously there's going to be something more to it. And obviously we don't know who the demon lord is like at all.
Yep.
Like we haven't seen him once, and supposedly the main character is supposed to kill him, but we haven't seen him. We've only seen like his 2 lackeys, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like that's very interesting. And then with Danmachi, just the fact of there's like the tower in itself is like not only do we get to see like obviously the world, like the towns and stuff like that, but just like towers itself is where it's just like there's just vast and endless possibilities. And especially like now like when finding out what Bell is, like who Belle's grandpa was, who was Zeus. Now we're trying to figure out is like okay, so cool, what the hell does Zeus have to do, and why the hell does Zeus not have a family, but it's just Belle? Like it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So it's like just like those two like fantasy worlds and settings is just what's very interesting to me, and it's going to be a tie between those two.
No, I definitely agree with you on Danmachi. Danmachi is personally one of my favorite franchises. I've kept up to date with all the light novels and stuff. It would probably be my vote for best fantasy as well. I would also say a big shout out to ReZero. I would say that would be an easy second place for me personally. I love the franchise. I love the series. I love the characters. They're fantastic to me. But Danmachi definitely holds a much more special place in my heart. Not only because of how I got into it, but also just generally how much I've gotten from it as well. Because while the light novels have been great, you've got the spin-offs of Sword of Rotoria as well from Danmachi. You've got the anime, you've got the movie, the OVAs. Everything is there, but even the gacha game itself, funnily enough, is such a gem mine of stories because the author himself, Fujino Omori, that is the author of Danmachi, he writes a lot of the stories for the gacha game, and a lot of it actually tells you the lore of Danmachi, the history of the origin of the dungeon, the origin of Argonaut, the hero, and stuff like that. And we do get a little bit of information about Zeus's familia actually in the game as well, for the record as well, by the way. So it's kind of interesting in that regards. And the funny thing is, the game does so well with its stories that they are getting adapted into actual manga formats. So funnily enough, actually, I would highly recommend is you go out of your way and read the Astrea Record manga that's going to be coming out, because that does tell you a lot of details about the actual like Zeus familia and stuff. So you probably want to keep an eye out on that. It's getting a manga, I think, relatively soon, if I'm not mistaken. But
Nice.
I definitely think Danmachi is up there for sure. I love the franchise it's created, this big web of storylines and stuff, and the lore behind it. It's going to be immense once we get closer and closer to the finale, for sure. Stacy, how about you? Best fantasy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much fantasy I've really watched or read, but the best one I've read is obviously Berserk to me. It's a good...
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a dark fantasy. Like, it's an actual legit fantasy.
Yep.
And, I mean, yeah, it's considered a dark fantasy, so it has a lot of, like, crazy elements to it. But, yeah, that's probably the best, like, anime or manga piece that I have read that's, like, fantasy. I love Konosuba, but I'd probably put that in like one of my favorite comedy categories, if anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I love Konosuba. Konosuba made me laugh so much. So, but yeah, I think for fantasy, probably Berserk for sure.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's if you it sometimes people forget that it is actually a fantasy in a way because everybody focuses on the action, the storylines and stuff, right? That it is set in a fantasy world. It is literally a fantasy. Like you said, it's the definition of a dark fantasy. So I think that's a very fair shout. All right, let's move into another category again. Let's go on to romance now. Best romance. I think I'll start off first. I think for me, it's hands down Kaguya-sama personally. I know I could also put it into comedy, but I think I have something else for comedy. I think Kaguya-sama for me is ultimately the best romance. It's fulfilling. It gives a good storyline for the main two characters, because the one issue that I have with a lot of these romance shows or romance mangas, I should say as well, and light novels, whatever romance related piece of media that comes out, it ends up being this whole thing of like, oh, does she love me? Does he love me? Kind of, and it keeps going back and forth. Whereas in Kaguya-sama, it's a little bit of a different take where they both know that they like the other person. Well, not necessarily knowingly, but subconsciously they know it. They want to make sure the other one falters first and foremost. It's a very different take, but it also is really well done, and it develops the characters really, really well, and that's very important as well. And the side characters also help in that development as well, which I feel like a lot of these romance shows tend to just push the side characters to a side when push comes to shove. But I feel Kaguya-sama has never let that happen necessarily, even in manga format. The side characters hold their place, they hold their own, and they support the characters in the right manner. Not too much, not too little. So I think for me, Kaguya-sama would be my best romance. Stacy, how about you? Best romance from your end?
I mean, I love Kaguya-sama a lot, but I think like the most refreshing romance that's come out recently is My Dress Up Darling. I mean, it's really cute and I liked it, and I think it was like kind of refreshing. For some reason, I mean, a lot of romance animes are so annoying to me because, like you said, it's a lot of back and forth and it doesn't go anywhere. And it's like, oh my god, you guys clearly like each other. Like, just grow some balls or something. And yeah, I really liked My Dress Up Darling when it came to romance. I don't know if it's like the best, but like recently, I might have some recency bias about it, but I thought it was just super refreshing and fun to watch, and it was like lighthearted and stuff, and yeah, it's a cute romance. I just wish that this category, like this genre, there was more adult romance going on, because I'm so sick of the high school stuff. Like I wish there was more like 20s, 30s, something. It's just like, bruh, I just wish there was a little bit more adult maturity there, and like dive into some like maybe some real relationship issues that a lot of people deal with, because like the high school stuff is always just like, oh my god, like what is he gonna tell me he loves me, or like blah blah blah. It's like, that is like so stupid. Like I want some real like romance, like some real heartbreak or whatever. Like I want to see that stuff. So it's kind of lacking in some ways in this genre. But regardless, there are still some good ones out there, like My Dress Up Darling.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to like adult romance shows, like it's so far and few between, and sometimes more, I would say even more often than not, they end up being a little bit lighthearted. Vodakoi, My Senpai is Annoying. These are some examples I have, but they're all very lighthearted versions of the stories, right? The only real ones, maybe you could say, I guess Golden Time, maybe, but even then it's like 19 years old. It's closer to high school, more so still, I would say. There's very few adult-based romance shows for sure, and I think there needs to be more. There does need to be more. As I grown older, I do want more of that for sure as well. Chico, how about you? Best romance show for you, man?
Well, I was going to give you Love is War anyway, because I knew you were going to say it, but you stole it anyway, so I was going to think I had to think of some other ones. But I guess the one that I like the most is the one that actually got me into reading manga in the first place, because it ended off season 1, and I was like, I need to know more, so I had to actually like pick up manga for it, and that is We Never Learn. It's just like adorable, like kind of like a tutor. Yep, it's adorable little like anime where a guy who's like a tutor for these two geniuses, and it kind of spoke a lot to me of my like college career in a little bit, so it actually meant a lot to me. And I guess if I could think of another one, it would be the Duke of Death and his maid, because that was a couple seasons ago, and I just felt like it was so like wholesome and so adorable. And I thought the premise of a guy who literally anything he touches dies, but he falls in love with his maid, who's also pretty much in love with him, and they have this kind of like forbidden love kind of style that I haven't really seen done very much. So I thought it was actually really cool and clever.
That's very good options. Duke of Death and his maid. I remember watching it and I actually really liked it. It was made by JC staff as well, if I recall correctly. Definitely one of the more underrated shows of that season, and I did like it. I wasn't expecting it as a choice, but it is a really good recent choice for sure as well. I don't disagree with that at all. And Bokuben, I loved that show as well. I think I preferred Orisuki because I remember those were the two big romance shows going on at the same time. I kind of leaned towards Orisuki more so than I did Bokuben, but Bokuben was really solid as well for sure. How about you? Best romance?
To be honest, I was going to say Angel Beats.
Bit of an odd one, but I like it.
But I mean, it is technically a romance.
It is technically. There's a lot of technicality going on there, but I respect it.
Yeah, but it popped into my head. Love is Hard for an Otaku.
Ooh, that was a good one. Yeah,
that one was. That one is another...
that like, wait, which one is that? Is that like when they're like in a city or whatever, and the girl has red hair and the guy smokes a lot?
Yes, it's Vodokoi.
Yes.
It's Vodokoi. Yeah. It's the one I mentioned earlier on.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen that one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That one, it made me want to pick up the manga, and I did, and I don't regret it. It's an amazing, like, light-hearted show. It's essentially an adult's version of a romance, where it's like these two working adults who are both otakus are just like, hey, guess what? You know what? You can't find anyone. You can't find any. I can't find anyone. Why don't we just date? I mean, we have the same hobbies, so why not just try it out? And it works out perfectly. And just like obviously with the two main characters, you also have like their friends and the brother as well, who's falls in love with someone. And just watching their stories, bloom into something bigger. It's just very interesting. It was a very much good read. It's sad that it's over, but you know what? It was a fun ride while it lasted. So that would be my topic for romance.
They still need to stop doing the overs and actually do another season of that show.
Honestly.
I like, don't get me wrong, I know the manga has ended. I think it recently ended as well. It wasn't like that long ago, like a year ago maybe, right? But they definitely need to do that. The final volume just got out. I still need that second season. A1 Pictures, please, for the love of God. It's not that hard. I don't know why they're making overs. There's literally an over that just came out like a year, or like not even like a year ago. I think like October, literally. And it's like, brother, please just make another season. Why are you making all these overs instead? Come on now. But yeah, no, that's a very, very good choice. Vodokoi was another option I had, and Stacy mentioning adult romance shows, I was like, yeah, that's actually a really good one as well.
Yeah. No, I seen that, and I thought it was like kind of boring. It was like 11 episodes, and I was like, damn, this is like okay, but I thought it was a little boring. Yeah, there wasn't enough going on in it for me.
Yeah. It is that's the reason why as well. I kind of wanted more. I feel like it should have had that extra season. I think with that second season, it'll just explode more, but at this point, I don't know if it'll ever get one. A1 Pictures needs to get their head out of their asses to be able to do that. All right, I think we're moving into the final two categories now. So we're close to wrapping up this mini segment. Basically, I say mini, this is the major part of the episode, basically. Sci-fi shows. We're gonna talk about mechs, everything of that sort. So I'm expecting a lot of repeating answers here, so feel free to use the same answers as other people. For me, I would probably say Neon Genesis Evangelion. I still maintain it's my favorite anime of all time, or my top anime of all time. I don't think anything will come close to it. I loved it. It was a great psychological thriller. It had a lot of good sci-fi elements in it as well, with the mechs and stuff, and the aliens, I suppose, if we want to call them that. Overall, just so good. The Angels, we'll just call them the Angels. I don't know why I said the aliens, but the Angels, really good show for me personally. I don't want to. I don't have anything else to say. It's my favorite anime of all time, so I have to put it at number one when it comes to this genre. Chico, how about you? Let's start with you this time round.
All right, so I'm gonna snatch this one up just because this one is actually a really, really good one, and that is a Gurren Lagann. I thought
Yep.
Gurren Lagann is like one of the better, like newish, not a newish. I guess it is pretty old, but like
Yeah.
a newish mecha anime. I actually love that. I love how it started with this tiny drill, and it ended up with literally throwing galaxy at each other, kind of fighting. I thought it was really great. And then I'm going old school, and I'm going to talk about Gundam Wing Zero, just because I just love the Gundams. I grew up watching and like loving Gundams. I even make model kits. I think the Wing Zero part was like one of my favorite ones.
That's fair. I think I was kind of expecting around this table. I say table as if we are at a table, but around this table, expecting Gurren Lagann or Neon Genesis Evangelion. But Stacey, how about you? What's your favorite sci-fi?
I love Neon Genesis Evangelion. I love it so much. Big fan of it. But I'm gonna say like my favorite one is actually a really recent anime that just came out not too long ago, and actually Joker was on me about it. But it's the Vivi Fluorite song.
Okay.
Anime.
Yep. I'm not gonna lie.
He's not here to talk about
I was
it.
about to say I was a little stressed you were gonna say something like Darling in the Franxx, and I was gonna be like, get out. No, we were no more.
Darling in the Franxx. I haven't even seen Darling in the Franxx,
It's
honestly.
better.
Yeah, I've heard bad things about it, but I mean, no, I really like Vivi. It's about like androids, and it's a futuristic world. There's robots and all this stuff, and it's really good. I like it. It's only like 12 episodes. The animation's really good. It's by Wit Studio. It's not like a typical sci-fi mech anime like at all. There isn't anything mech about it, but it's still very sci-fi, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So Vivi's Fluorite song, it's something like that. Vivi's something.
Yeah, I think it's Vivi Fluorite's Eye Song. It's a very I keep mixing it up as well. I say Vivi's Fluorite Eye Song, Vivi Fluorite's Eye Song. It's a mess.
Yeah.
But it's basically that effectively. It's those words. We just don't know where the it is basically at the end of it. Yeah, I do agree. It is not your typical sci-fi show. It's not your mech combat action. We beat robots up, we destroy stuff. No. It's more of a musical than anything else. I would say it's a sci-fi musical, which I think is fantastic. I also adored the show quite a lot for sure. I think it's a very good option, and it's a bit of a under the radar option for a lot of people, and I highly recommend if you haven't watched it. It only came out. It's a very recent show as well. It's not even that old, so I highly recommend if you go out of your way and watch it for sure. How about you? Best sci-fi?
To be honest, the only thing that can really, stick out of my head for now would be Dr. Stone. Like, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like I would say like something like I would also say like something like oh my goodness, oh, I've completely forgot the name. Holy shit.
Wait, is it something we mentioned earlier on, or what?
No. It was a Gundam. It was a Gundam. Oh my god. Child soldiers. No, wait, that's all of them.
Oh, wait.
Orphans.
Oh.
Iron Blood Orphans. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
There we go. We got there in the end.
I said child soldiers. So I was like, wait a second, that's every single Gundam. Never mind. But yeah, no, Dr. Stone really just the fact of like it's sci-fi, and like the fact of it's not like your stereotypical sci-fi, where it's just like obviously with mechs and stuff like that. It's like no, it's like it's technically sci-fi because he creates all this like new age technology in the prehistoric age essentially. So it's something like that. Like that's just like something for me. Dr. Stone would just like hits home for sci-fi for me.
Yeah, I think that's a very good option. The thing is, I've just so like linked Dr. Stone with just shonen. For some reason, I just put it in the action category for some reason. But in fact, it's not even got that much action. It's got more, I would say, sci-fi stuff than action. It definitely would be more in line with that for sure. Very good option. Obviously, it also recently ended its manga run. We're gonna be getting a new season next year. There is a special coming out next week, actually, funnily enough. The premiere for it is happening at Anime Expo. So
Yep.
It's gonna be very exciting times for Dr. Stone fans for sure. All right, final category. We're going on to the best comedy. We'll start off with you. Best comedy from you, mate.
You know what? I always gotta say it. This is my top one. Always, no matter what. Gintama. Gintama will always will always top the comedy category. There is nothing no one can say that will change my mind. Like, as much as like all these other like comedies that did like, you know, make me laugh, like Grand Blue Dreaming. I know that one had me, you know, essentially crying. Just something about Gintama, and it's just like, not only like is like the story itself like really amazing, just like the comedic things that they put themselves in. It's just the fact that there's so many fourth wall breaks, but like it all makes sense in a way. Like, I don't know, just Gintama will always be the top comedy in that category.
For sure. I think that's a really good option. Gintama, I think, is probably a lot of people's like top comedy, and it's phenomenal. And I really want to have a rewatch of Gintama as well. It's been a while since I've had that rewatch, and I really want to have a rewatch sooner rather than later for sure. Stacey, how about you? Best comedy from your end?
Yeah, so I've never watched Gintama. It's definitely on the list, but from the comedies that I've seen, I have so many that I love. But I think the one that's made me like laugh out loud like crazy has been Prison School.
Oh my god.
I think Prison School is so funny to me. Like, it is hilarious. I love it. I love like ecchi, goofy comedy.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. That's probably like one of my favorite categories. So I love that. Prison School is probably like top for me, but I also love Konosuba. I loved Way of the House Husband. That one had me rolling as well. I love Psyche K. That was hilarious. I've seen Grand Blue Dreaming as well. That was good. And wasn't Golden Boy like really funny as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Golden Boy is like hilarious as well. There's just so many good funny ones. But I think Prison School is so iconic. I always try to get people to watch it just because it's so outrageous and funny. So yeah. Prison School for me.
Honestly, I was not expecting Prison School, but that's a very good option nonetheless. I must admit, it is fantastic in all honesty.
It's too good. It's just like unexpected. Like, I just put it on one day in the gym. I was like, I don't know what this is about, but whatever, let's put it on. First episode, I'm like, what the actual fuck is happening? This is so good. I love it. And amazing show.
Honestly, I that's a very good show to put on this list for sure. Chico, how about you?
Oh no, you guys took some of my answers. The Gintama and Konosuba were definitely going to be my first choices for that. But I did like want to go through and see if I could think of any other ones. And the only two ones that can pop in my head afterwards was Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, because I think it's adorable but also just hilarious. And then Daily Lives of a High School Boys. I actually thought that was actually like it touched me as a kid growing up with it, and it just was hilarious and made me laugh. The episodes still make me laugh even now that I'm more of an adult.
No, that's a very good one as well for sure. I love it as well. I think I would probably put it as my slice of life more so. Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, that is for sure. But I do think the comedy in it is phenomenal as well. For me personally, I think if I had to give my best comedy, it's a very tricky one, but it's a show that's getting its second season this upcoming summer season, and I'd say it's probably Devil is a Part-Timer. I really loved the first season, and it was really, really hilarious to me. I mean, you guys also took some of my answers, I'm not gonna lie. Gintama was gonna be up there, Grand Blue as well. And I think Grand Blue is great as well. I really, really love Grand Blue as a comedy. But I think Devil is a Part-Timer, and especially with its second season coming up, I had to give it the nod just so that people know about it. And, with the second season coming up, they can go watch it. I'd say it's a fantastic, fantastic comedy, probably in my top 5, I would say, easily. And I'm super, super excited to get the second season because I know I'm just going to have a ball of time just watching it, just laughing out loud consistently, right? It's going to be so, so good. But I think there we have it. Those are our top anime from each genre. We've given our thoughts. A lot of differences across the board, but generally also good choices, I would say. Like, I was expecting a lot of the common stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit worried about that, but I think we've done a fantastic job in avoiding that. Now, to wrap up the podcast, we're gonna talk a little bit about what's coming up next week. And we're not gonna be actually covering it there, not all of us, but Trico is going to be going to Anime Expo next week. So I thought what a better way to wrap up the podcast than, just talking about Anime Expo and seeing what we're most excited about, because there are some things there that are very, very interesting. Some premieres of shows, like Blue Lock is airing its first episode there, if I'm not mistaken. Inspector, we're getting some One Piece Film Red stuff. I know there's a 3rd anniversary for Demon Slayer happening as well. There's a very high chance we could be getting a lot of trailers and stuff. So I want to put it out there. Trico, since you're going, let's start off with you first. What are you most hyped about? What are you most excited to go and see at Anime Expo? I mean, of course, there's going to be a lot of the figurines and models and stuff like that. But in terms of like anime, are you excited for any panel or anything in particular that you're keen on going and seeing?
Yeah, so like this is my 3rd year going, and because of what happened with the pandemic, we weren't able to actually show up to like any like live shows for a while. So I'm really super excited to go to this one. Now, normally I usually don't really go to a lot of the panels unless it's something really gripping to me. I usually just go there for just the merch, like the anime figures or the art. And then maybe I'll try out some of the food and stuff like that. But this is actually be the first time I'm actually going to try and check out as much as the panels as possible.
Yep.
I mean, some of them are really, really cool. Like, I'm surprised, my boy, you didn't talk about the Kaguya-sama festival that's going to be happening over there. That's going to be so dope.
Yeah, I did refer to it at the start. I did refer to it at the start.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, that is one that I'm very excited about as well. But there's also other panels as well. Like Chainsaw Man, I know is going to it is having a panel there where we're probably going to get the date for the anime, which I'm surprised we still haven't gotten a date for the anime yet, by the way. I'm still surprised that it's just up in the air.
Soon, probably.
Yeah, they said it is still supposed to release this year based on MAPPA. So it has to be announced this upcoming Anime Expo. Has to be, right? But yeah, that is one panel. Anything else you're keen on as well, along with the Kaguya-sama panel?
Oh yeah, like Spy Family English dub is going to get a panel. I'm super looking for Trash Taste panel. That's going to be really cool. I'm hopefully able to do an interview with them. Like we don't have a press pass, but like I'm going to hope that we can like meet up with the other person who's going to be going there with me, and we're going to try and beg and say, can we talk to the anime like senpais, please? There's also going to be Iron Mouse is going to be there with V Shoujo, which I think it'd be still pretty fun to try and go for. And then like you already mentioned, like a lot of really good ones, like Demon Slayer is one that I'm really looking forward to checking out. Spike Chunsoft, because I'm a huge gaming like nut, so anything gaming and anime related, I'm usually gonna go ham on trying to check out too. The Dr. Stone premiere is going to be something I'm definitely going to try and dip into. And I can't seem to find it on my list, but like I know that was like a One Piece celebration.
Yes.
The 30th anniversary or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to check that one out too.
Yeah, I think it's on the 2nd, because I was looking at it actually on stream, because one of my, I would say one of my VIP members from Twitch, from my Twitch, they are also going to Anime Expo for one day only. I don't think they're going on the day of the One Piece movie, or I think they are. I'm not sure exactly. I think they said they were going on the 2nd, but I think it is that day actually. I think there's supposed to be something with the One Piece film Red, the upcoming One Piece movie. So that's gonna be very, very exciting for sure. Stacy, what are you looking forward to the most? I know it's probably I know what I'm expecting to hear, but you go on and say it.
I don't know. Like, dude, I'm not really expecting anything.
Oh,
I guess.
I was expecting One Piece. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, One Piece stuff, but like I'm not going. So, I mean, like I have a lot of other things to think about in life and like my own personal stuff. So it's just like the Anime Expo hasn't really been the forefront of my mind. Like, of course, I'm excited for like that, One Piece stuff, but it'll be revealed when it's revealed, and yeah, I'll hear about it, and then that'll be that. But yeah, I mean, like I wish I could go. Like, that would be one thing. If I were going, I would totally want to go to see the Trash Taste Boys. Like, I've been listening to their podcast ever since it came out. And I'm just really fond of them. So I wish I could go. I wish I could go to like TwitchCon as well, but it's just like a crazy, crazy year. So yeah, I hope you get that interview, bro. Like I'm I'm so jealous if you get to. Like seriously, it'd be so fun to meet those guys. But yeah, I mean, I wish I could go. I don't know. I'm excited for the people that get to go, basically. But right now, I'm just like, whatever. Like, I have so much stuff to deal with in my own personal life that it's like, not really at the forefront of anything.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, definitely agree with you. I'm probably gonna keep a side eye more so than anything else. Of course, whenever you know Chico and Anime Athlete, who's going as well, you know, they get me the stuff. I will obviously have to work on it and make sure it goes up on the 59 Animanga channel. But I want to keep a side eye on it for obviously some of the announcements that come out. But we'll, like you said, with how social media is, I wouldn't be surprised if all the information actually gets leaked before the panels themselves at this rate, to be quite honest, right? I think that happens way too commonly nowadays. How about you? Any announcements you're looking forward to or any premieres that you're interested in watching once it's done at Anime Expo?
Blue Lock is one of them, and obviously you're gonna be, waiting for those One Piece news for the film Red, because that's gonna be that's a movie I definitely want to go see once it's out on the Western Front. But yeah, nothing much really, just because I haven't been really trying to keep up with Anime Expo because I'm not going, so it's like I don't really necessarily need to know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But just obviously One Piece news, and then obviously the premiere for Blue Lock, which Blue Lock is an amazing manga. I think it's one of my, if we were to do a sports category, that would have definitely been my top one. But yeah, no, just those two really is what I'm very interested in.
No, definitely agree with you on that one. For me, I think as well, I would probably say I'm looking forward to the premieres more so than anything else. Obviously, I really hope they do get, put up online, be it on Crunchyroll or whatever. I think Crunchyroll should be premiering them as well and having them on their website or whatever, so we'll see. But definitely, I think that those are the ones I'm looking forward to, as well as more so the premieres than the announcements themselves, because the announcements we know for the most part what they're going to be about, maybe just confirming okay, this is the date, like I said, for Chainsaw Man and stuff. But definitely going to be exciting, and nonetheless we'll obviously talk about if there is any actually really surprising announcements at Anime Expo. We'll talk about it in the next podcast, which should be right after Anime Expo ends. You guys will probably get it around effectively the 7th or 8th of July, basically, if I'm not mistaken, is when we'll record the next podcast. So make sure you guys tune in then. But if you guys enjoyed this podcast, leave a like, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube and you're watching the premiere. Of course, comment down below what did you guys like most about the podcast. Let us know if any changes you want to see as well, maybe some adjustments, some improvements. We're glad to take on any advice you guys give us, any constructive criticism. We'll always take that on our shoulders and, make adjustments accordingly. And once again, we appreciate all of y'all for watching this podcast or listening in on it if you're hearing us on Spotify. And thank you to Stacy, and Chico for joining me on this podcast as well. We greatly appreciate every one of you guys listening in on us. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.